Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. I'm your host, Katy Rey, a fierce leader in the community, empowering you to own your stories and be exactly who you are. I am joined with the amazing Courtnie Nichols today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I like that. Courtnie let me know the roles are reversed today. We're going to be talking all about Courtnie. She's usually in the other seat listening to all the things from her clients, but we get to hear about you. So say I was just like walking along the street and I ran into you. How would you describe yourself?
First of all, the first thing you would say is she's tall. I'm 6'2". I mean, I'm like this tall Black woman. You know what I mean? So like you would probably not run into me because you would see me before you're like, whoa. And that's the first thing, like before anything. They're like, you're tall. Did you play sports? Did you? And sometimes like I want to be a little smart. Tell me like, I didn't play any sports. I played the piano or like say something crazy, you know, but then I'm like piano, long fingers. So that still goes. I'm like, I just want to tell them like, no, I don't play sports. I don't even like sports. I read books, sit in my house and knit. Like, you know, just something totally opposite and like just see their face just drop. But what I would say that I'm very passionate, loyal, great friend. I say I'm a great wife. Look, I say I'm a great wife. My husband better say I'm a great wife. I feel like I'm an advocate. I'm one of those people that I am, once I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So that's a pet peeve of mine. But like, I feel like if you know me or you get to know me, like that's the one thing, like if Courtnie says she's going to do something or like if she's got it, she's got it. Like we can count her in.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think also I imagined you playing, I'm a visual person, so I imagined you at it like a super tall, beautiful woman at a piano, just like jamming out. I'm just like, wait a second.
I know. And I played the piano when I was younger, but I didn't like it because my piano teacher, she was really mean, Miss May. She was really old and like she used to hit your hand with the thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I have to?
You played basketball though, right?
And volleyball. So two-sport athlete in college, yes.
That's super cool. I played my entire life. It's one of my favorite things. Okay, so how did you get into the travel industry? Like, what made you so passionate about it? I know that you have some, like I think your dad was an entrepreneur.
He was. He is. Yeah, he was. He is. Yes,
not retired, still moving and grooving.
Yes.
But what kind of pushed you towards that after being in, corporate fundraising, all of that?
So I always said I wanted to own my own business. And I don't know if it's just one of those things where people like say they want to pretend do business. And I'm like, if you know how hard business is, you don't want to pretend. It's not like a fun thing to play. But like I was always around entrepreneurs or in my family. That was big education and like coming up with something of your own that you could create. So like I always, like me and my husband, we met when we were really young. In college. And like, I was the person that set goals and like wrote down and made him sign his name to it at like 23. And he's like, she's so like, I was like, by the age of 30, I will have my own business. I will have traveled to Africa. You know, like I was that kid, high achiever, like she's a little know-it-all type of person. But my husband, he's a college basketball coach. When I met him, he played professionally. So I lived overseas, which still didn't correlate at the time that I would do travel, but what was happening was we were moving every year. So my husband ended up getting hurt. He came back and he was a graduate assistant for his alma mater. Then we were there for a year. Then another year we went to another school. Another year we went to another school. 2 years we went to another school. And then so I moved 8 times in 16 years. So when I got to Florida, that's where I used to live. I currently live in Virginia. So that was the last stop, Florida. I was like, I don't have any kids. I'm smart. Like, I'm not supposed to be sitting at home and being a trophy wife. Like, I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm like, and the jobs that I want, they're not hiring me for because they're like, Courtnie, really at this level, we want someone to come like executive director, like someone leading a team. And like, not that you don't have the skills or qualifications, but we don't know how long you're going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, you want someone in that seat who can build. And so then I'm like, okay, I'll just find a job, just get something so I can do it. And so like, I'm still not getting picked for that because they're like, you're overqualified. And why would we pay you all this money when we can get this person and pay them less? And I was getting frustrated. And then, so obviously the good thing is when you can raise money, you always have a job. So that was my thing. Like I was sales, I could fundraise. So So they're like, okay, we're just going to put you over here. This is a new role in the university. And like, we don't know what it's going to be like. And you don't have to, we just need you to raise money, which was good. But like, I literally can raise money in my sleep. Like I can close my eyes and like, how much you need? Like a genie, you know what I mean? Like it started getting repetitive and then it was old and like there's all these politics around.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's got to be another way. And so my parents' travel advisor at the time, she had asked me before, but I'm a millennial. I'll be 38 in December. And I was like, people use travel agent. I'm like, what? Like, there's an app for that. Like I book our own trip. I do my own plane. Like, why do people even get paid doing that? It's like, is that a thing? And so finally I was like, well, maybe I should try it. Like, because, I lived overseas. I moved all these places. Like we traveled, I had a destination wedding out of the country. So like we had a network, in all these different states and people. So like I knew a lot of people. I could leverage that. On top of that, I traveled often and lived in Europe. And I'm like, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it for a year. And if it does not replace my income at the University of Florida, I'm going to say bye and go about my merry way. And so January 2017, I started and I quit my full-time job at the University of Florida June 2018. So a year and a half later, I was like, it was real. And bam, and it just took off from there.
You write it down and show your husband that you also wrote this down.
Oh yeah, no, I do it all the time. Like I'll pull out this, I still have it. I'll pull it out. And I'm like, Dare, she said that we were going to own a property in Cyprus by that. Like, we don't own a property in Cyprus. Like, he's like, Courtnie, like, like you said that he wanted to go to Africa, but I've already been like 3 times. But I'm like, you said that you were, like, he's like, that's why I hate doing that, Courtnie, because like you look at it and you're like, it's like, I'm checking off the boxes, which is like probably bad too, because then you're that
much satisfaction for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like check.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I'm not good with math, but it's been a lot of years you've been doing it now. What are you on, 7 years?
I am on 7 years. Yeah.
Ooh, math.
Lucky 7 or crazy 7. I guess like it's lucky 7, but then for marriages it's bad 7.
Listen, it's 7. Okay.
Yeah, it's 7. I'm still breathing. And you got to think, I've endured a pandemic just like everyone else. But like for this role, this career path during the pandemic, oh my gosh, if you were a travel advisor in that time and you still are, you have just increased your, you know what I mean? Like, instead of 7, let's say 14 at this point.
Yeah, because nobody was traveling. Oh my gosh, how did you get through that mentally?
Okay, so I think it was one, I didn't really understand how bad it was. So I kept saying like, oh, it's going to be shut down, but it'll come back up. Like the world will open back up. And it was crazy because my last trip was in March in St. Lucia before the world shut down. But the crazy thing is I was the first one back out traveling in August. First place, Mexico, because Mexico was still open. But also before I sent my clients, I wanted to be like, is it safe? Do I feel comfortable? Like, are protocols in place? Is service still good? Like, what is it? And it was so inexpensive to travel. I could get on a plane and no one was there. I didn't need to upgrade or anything because there's like five people on this large plane. I could stretch out and do all this.
You had your own plane. Courtnie.
Yes, they would have the chips and stuff in this little plastic bag and all that. I was like, oh my gosh, people are so much nicer. Service is not crowded. I would go to the hotels and they would like bend over backwards because you got to think they would only have like 3 or 4 rooms. So they're like, Ms. Nichols, is there anything you need? I'm like, can y'all keep this vibe after that? You know what I mean? Like, but it also was one of those things. If I wanted people to start traveling and people were saying it was safe, I had to do it first. Like leaders go first. So like, I can't be like, yeah, you can do this and I'm going to take your money. I'm like, but I wouldn't get on that plane. So literally I did start small. Like again, I went to Mexico first in August and then my birthday's in December and I went to Punta Mita and did surfing in Mexico. And then that 2021, I started exploring. Like I went all the way to South Africa and they said that strand came from South Africa and all that. And I felt safer in South Africa than I did in the US because the difference was out of the country, they were abiding by the rules. And over here, we just have all these freedoms that we're like, we'll pick and choose what we want to do. But when you're in other countries, they did not play that. So it was almost like, whoa, they're taking this way more serious. And you got to think, I lived in Florida. That's like the Wild Wild West. So like, people weren't really doing what they should have been doing, and people were traveling down there. So when I actually was out of the country, I actually felt safe and like more protected. And they had even in the airports, the line, I'm just like, how quick that they were able to adjust, and we were still trying to figure it out was crazy.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good. You did that too. And you're right. It comes from a genuine place when you're like, you know what, I did these I did these two trips. This worked out for me as much like it feels better and you want your clients to feel good. And of course, you probably have returning clients all the time. I can't imagine.
Yes.
But so now have you kind of shifted? So do you still do weddings? Like what does it look like now? And did you start booking right when travel was open again? So you really didn't miss
Oh yeah, I was already booked. So this is what I came to realize, or this is how my second business started. So Travel Bash Corp is my overall company, and I focused on when I first got into business on destination weddings and groups, because at that time when I was 30 years old, all my friends were getting married. On top of that, in order to make money as a travel advisor. So here's the thing: people don't understand how travel agents and travel advisors get paid. They don't realize that here's what they're thinking, because a lot of travel agents prior, like 80s, the airlines used to pay commission. So you used to go into your little brick and mortar, your AAA, you pick a brochure and say, I want to go here, and they would book it. It's like very transactional. And so travel agents did not charge fees because they were getting commissions or kickbacks for whenever you actually traveled. The problem with that is if you never travel, you never got paid. So just think for all the agents that was booking travel during 2020, no one traveled. Yet they didn't get paid. So when no one travels, you don't get paid. You still have to chase down people's refunds because, people are upset and like, I don't have insurance. And you're like, well, that's what insurance for. They're like, this is a pandemic. So you're getting yelled at, gone off on, sitting on the calls for 2 and 3 hours. You're trying to either reschedule, you're trying to rebook, or you're trying to chase down refunds and cancel. So you're working, you're just not getting paid. Well, my business model doesn't work like that, because I believe that I'm offering you a service, that's why they changed the name from travel agent to travel advisor. It's the knowledge and expertise. It's not transactional. I always tell clients, if you just want me to book a hotel or just your flight, then you don't really want me, because I have to be able to add value. I do things that you can't do yourself. So for me, that requires you to pay a fee. Like you want my service, it's a service that I'm providing. The little kickback from the hotelier, I feel like that's kind of like our partnership of like, Courtney, thank you for promoting our hotel or whatever, our destination. And like, we've serviced them well and we appreciate kind of like it's our exchange, but it has nothing to do with the service that I have with the client. So like piggybacking like off that little thing, because you're like, Courtney, answer the question, like what's COVID? So like going back, I just feel like you have to give people background so they understand it's 2020, everybody's upset and frustrated. Advisors are not getting paid, yet they're still booking because they're pushing trips off. They're like, the people who didn't have insurance, obviously, some of the hotels and properties like, well, we're not going to give you a refund, but like this time next year you can come. So you're still so you could be dealing with a client for 2 years and you still never got paid. And so what I realized was I had a subset of client. It's like that book, 10X is easier than 2X. I had a subset of clients that were still traveling. I'm like, how are y'all traveling? Like this luxury doesn't see a recession. So I had 20% of clients that were giving me 80% of my output. So I'm like, should I focus on the 80 that travel once or twice a year? Or should I go to this 20 who is dropping tons of money because it's COVID and they're talking about, can we charter a yacht? And at the time, I didn't know what chartering a yacht was. I didn't know about private planes. Did I tell them I didn't? No. You know what I did? Found partners that made me look great. And so from that subset of clients, I was able to create a whole business. It's TRBOB. So I work with clients on retainer for the whole year. So I created a whole, I flipped the model. So COVID was also good to me because it also enabled me to create a model that was more sustainable and profitable, from a person that is a solopreneur, where I'm not working for 300 clients and booking 100 cruises and 20 Disney World, that would have hours a week. Like not correct. So I would have a small amount of clients, but they would travel more often and their average spend was higher. So then during COVID, I created this second model. So I kept Travel Bash, but after the world opened back up, Travel Bash no longer, it was not a full service travel agency. I could not book your daughter's trip to here. You're not going to Hawaii there. It's either you're planning a destination wedding, you're a US couple planning a destination wedding abroad, or you're doing some big group celebration, whether it's like a 50th anniversary or, a big graduation or promote. But it was like, it's not me and my 4 friends. Like those one-off trips were done because now I have this retainer model. So to this day, now Travel Bash is only destination weddings. We take 11 a year, none in the month of December because it's my birthday month. It's Christmas. Like you don't want to be dealing with any foolishness. Travel is crazy. Airlines always mess up. The holidays, it's just, we just said, no, we're done. No December. So we take 11 weddings a year with Travel Bash. And I have a team that fully operates. I'm kind of like in their way, basically. Yeah. But they handle everything. And then I have TRVLB where me, like myself personally, and then I have an assistant that works with 15 families, some couples or individuals for the entire year on a yearly retainer. And then I just launched the Business Huddle, which is a business event for travel advisors that focuses specifically on business. Because the problem is in our industry, it's always product. We sit with GMs from the Four Seasons. They want Hive to do this. They want us to travel and see destinations. And that's the easiest part because anybody who gets into business, as long as you start traveling, you're going to learn it because the more you see, the more, business and partnerships you do, then that's the easy part. But no one teaches you how to actually build your business. And that's marketing, that's operations, that's sales, that's, you know what I mean? That's mindset as well. You're not the doer anymore and you're not trading your time for money. Like, you have to have a CEO mindset. What does that look like? Now with AI and the technology, how does that affect your business? How can you leverage that to help you productivity wise? So now I've created kind of like this community and we're going to do this event in July in Austin next year. So like now I have 3 entities. It's like Courtnie consultant hat, like let's get your business like where it needs to be. And then like destination with an expert. Yes, girl, let me tell you about this. I was a bride and everybody on my team has had a destination wedding too. So that's cool. And then I have that like high net worth, like, yes, I'm your personal travel concierge. Let me have you travel the world,
Does your voice change for that? Does your voice change for that?
Yes. So it's like, hey, girl, hey, destination wedding. And then it's like, yes, I am your queen. And then the consultant hat is like, and the principal, like.
That's perfect. And so for your team and partnerships, so you have like event planners, you have because you're focused on the travel piece. You're not building the plan of the wedding. Yours is getting there.
So we have a wedding specialist and she's not an event planner. So we always tell people, we're not a full service event planning or wedding planning company. We have wedding concierge services, but depending on where you get married, you will need to get a wedding planner or you'll work with your on-site like event coordinator for venue and all that. So it just depends. Like some people get married in all-inclusive. They assign you a wedding coordinator. You don't necessarily need it unless you're trying to do fly flowers in from Italy. It depends on how expansive that you want it. Or like we're working with a couple right now in Colombia. We actually hired them a wedding planner through us as a partner that we worked with at a wedding conference. That's where we met her. And so they're working through us, but it's like we contracted her out to keep things easier, streamlined. Yeah, so it just kind of depends. But we do not do like, girls, do not come to me talk about napkins, menus. Like, again, some of our clients, because we kind of walk them through and we're their guide, we're kind of helping them like, hey, here's what our couples normally do. Or like for this amount of people, like I think round tables would be better than rectangle or
big picture consulting. Because like
correct. But as far as the doers, we're hiring that out. The travel, we got you. We'll take care of that. Even if you're trying to do on-site, off-site events and activities, but like the actual full wedding plan, we're going to consult. We're going to get that to somebody to make sure it happens, but we're not going to be the ones that actually fulfill it.
That's so cool. How great do you feel being here now? Like think about it. And I do want you to bring in athletics, right? I think people often don't, the work ethic of athletes is so, I'm married to a D1 player. I played athletics my entire life, but I was working in college and stuff. But like that work ethic right there is like a definitely builds your character.
Yeah. So like, it's one of those things that I'm like, is there more that I can do? So here's the crazy thing. Cause my husband obviously is a Division I basketball player and he's now a Division I head basketball coach. So like, he thinks that we're in competition. Like he doesn't think we're in competition, but he thinks that I want to be in competition with him. And I'm like, I don't. I'm like, we're on the same team. Like, but like, I am a high achiever. Yeah, I'm a high achiever. And so like, sometimes I'll see myself like, Garrison, you know, he's not taking time for family and like, da-da-da. And like my mother-in-law and father-in-law was like, y'all are the same person. Like, you do the same. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, this is, you know, like, and then I think about it and then I'm like, am I like, okay, I look at our picture, I'm like, sometimes we're in the house and like, he's on this computer, I'm on our computer till like 10 or 11, like, and I'm like, is this real? You know, like, is balance a real thing? Or like, is it something that like they showed us or they told us that we need and it's not a thing? And like, it's okay. Is it normal that this is how like, again, the Netflix and chill or like, we're in the house on our computer, but we're still kind of talking, but then we're not like, is that healthy? Like, I'm always like, I don't know, but it is one of those things that like, we were talking about like, what does success look like? And like, people ask me this all the time. And for me, I feel like I'm successful because I've created the lifestyle I want to live. To me, that's success. Like I've been able to leave something that was providing income, to create that on my own, but then give me the flexibility to do the things like when Darius has games that I can go to games, I can get on a plane, I can travel, I can do that. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's about the flexibility or to me, the access and, you know, that it provides. So it's not necessarily about the money. I know my husband's like, no, she loves the money, but it's not the money. It's what it allows you to have. Does that make sense? Like,
no, I'm a big,
it's the time. Yeah, it's the time. Like I get up and I think about it and I'm like, thank you, God. Like a slow morning where everybody is like up at 6 and 7. And I mean, that's cool if that's what you do, but I don't get up before 8. Like,
that's your success too. So like, I like to wake up at like 5 and get things done like 3 hours before everybody does stuff, but I feel joy in that. But I also tell people that too. The money comes and how you want to live is success. Like you can't write up a plan for me for my success. You can show me a strategy of how it could happen, but I have to fit my customized habits, what brings me joy. Like everything has to be customized. You can be like, definitely write out your goals. Definitely like there's things like that, but you can't tell me what my goals are.
Right. And that's why I feel like I could never be a jealous person or I'm not big on social media. Matter of fact, just created an Instagram page for Courtnie Nichols like last week, but I have my travel badge. Like, so I was the only millennial I knew that did not get on social media until I started my business in 2017. I didn't have anything. Nothing. Like my husband was like, she's like off the grid. Like,
first of all, mentally, good job. That's so good. I have to do social for my nonprofit with the foster kids and stuff. And it's like, sometimes I'm like, I just like showing up in places and reminding people that success looks different.
Yes. And that's what I love because I'm always telling people, they're like, Courtnie, you got to get on social media. Like when I meet you and your person, I guess my offline doesn't match my online, but I'm like, I feel like I'm a people person. Like I want to talk to you. I don't want to be looking at the screen like, girl, you got to be doing like, that's not me. And so I understand that people have success from that and they're trying to go viral and they're TikToking and all of that. But like,
I feel you.
I like to just like live my life and not always have it on full display of screen, you know, like
you hear that more often because it's overwhelming for people to think like, oh, I have to be on social all the time. No, because Courtnie created success her way. And she's you have to think your trajectory of like all day grinding to now being like, I'm capped at 15. Right. I'm capped here. My team can take this is so needed mentally, burnout wise. Like you don't want, like you knew where you were. You're like, I'm going to grind here, get there, have that experience here. And now you get to oversee and consult other people doing that grind. So it's like that's what I think people need to remember. Success is having your time back.
I believe it. Because I talk to my colleagues all the time and they're working 80 hours, 100, or like we'll go to conference and they have their computer out and I never have my computer.
Yeah.
They're like, it's almost like, they're like, does Courtnie have clients? Like, we don't ever see her on the phone and do that. Like, because and I'm a boundary person too. I believe boundaries make bank. And so I feel like when you have clients, you're training them how you do business operations, just like you train people how to treat you. And so like, I don't want to work 100 hours a week. I don't want to be on my phone at 10 o'clock at night texting a client about a trip they're not going to for 2 years. Like, it makes no sense. But people continue to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that it's like in the United States that everybody's on the phone, down, down, down. You go to Europe. Like, I just got back from Greece and like, we're having a 2.5-hour lunch and I'm forgetting what am I here for? You know what I mean? Like, I was here to see the destination and properties and meet people. And I'm forgetting this is day one. And I'm like, so what's the rest of the day look like? Because, you know, you're so used to like, I'm like, so are we just hanging? And this is a part of it because they're like, this is how you get to know the, you know, GM. We're in a relationship. And I'm like, we need more of that. Like, when's the last time you've taken a 2.5-hour lunch and talked about nothing and drank wine and ate good food and had good conversation?
I've switched my meetings to walks.
That's even better. I need to do more.
Because it connects you and you're walking and you're not sitting drinking like your 9th cup of coffee. And you're like, it like actually, it's really, I don't know, but you're totally right. Other countries, you know, there's that joke where it's like the out of office for the US, hey, I just got kidney surgery. I'll be back online at 10. And then countries.
I just had a baby. I remember I hired a girl. I'm not kidding you. Like, I hired a girl and literally she didn't tell me she was pregnant. And I found out like a couple days before she was getting ready to give birth. She's like, don't worry, I'm taking my laptop to the hospital. And I said, shame on me that you felt like that you needed. And she was like, no, it's just more of like in previous roles and like other people she had worked for, because this was her second job. Like, that was the thing. And me, I'm like, girl, I don't want you to take a laptop in the hospital after having a baby. She's like, no problem. Like, once I've had baby, like, I'll just be sitting in it. Like,
it's crazy,
I don't work like that. Like, I don't have kids, but like, I wouldn't operate like that. And I don't believe in it. Like, matter of fact, I think you see my email, like, I have that well-being statement at the bottom. Like, I'm not that girl. You know, like,
that. Yeah. And it's sad because you're right. My first maternity leave, I was on, like, reps were calling me when I was in sales. And then my second one, I was like, I got to get out of here. I left the company because I'm like, what? Like, no, I just literally, a human came out like, can I get a day?
Who cares what Travel Bash is doing? I'm like, girl, it doesn't. Yeah, like, what? You just popped out a whole, like, but like, that's the mind. So that's what I want to get out of. Like, and I think also for women, it's one of those things that we're trying to chase and climb and prove and show. And I had to get to the point with my mindset, it's like, I don't have to do anything. Meaning I don't have to cook, clean, have kids, have a business, and I'm worthy and I'm okay. And I'm worthy because I'm Courtnie. You know what I mean? Like, has nothing to do with what I do for others or what I do for, you know, like, that's a mindset that I feel like I have to do. Like, I'm proving, but I don't have to prove anything. Again, I can just get out of bed, stroll, watch TV, and I'm still worthy. And I think that's a mindset because that doesn't register all the time for people.
It doesn't. And I love that we met, and I think you're a badass. But you're so right? But you have to do the work to get there. And you've done the work. Like, you've shifted your mindset. You're like, okay, I don't have to be working 90 hours. I can get to my goals. And I think that's a hard thing to teach people. Like, there isn't a one size fits all. Let's have the conversation on what's worked and what can fit for you. You don't have to wholeheartedly take on full Courtnie plan, but it's like, this is what's worked. What can you fit in and what like is customized for it? I love that you have, you're impacting now more travel advisors. I love that you're doing that. I love that you have, you know, capped, like, this is what my business looks like. If I want to bring on 4 other Courtnies, then okay, we can grow this much more. But like, how does that look? But, you know, you could be in a mentorship role, helping other people build their business as like consulting, or, I mean, you could be retired here, girl. I'm 39. I want to be like Courtnie. How do I get there?
Literally, that's the one thing when you said, so where are you at now? Like, I'm literally getting ready to go to Spain And so part of the time I'm doing this CEO retreat with other like 6 other amazing badass like entrepreneur women. And they were like, so what are the challenges? And when I look at it, it's like, where do I want to go? What's next? You know what I mean? Like, is it mentor? Do I still need to feel like I need to have travel badge? It was my baby when I first started. But then I also changed the mindset. It was not my baby. I did not give birth to it. Like, I don't have that attachment. I had to let that go. This is a business. And it provided me this in this stage of my life from where I was at. And so the freedom to be like, what does it look like now? And even if that means it no longer served me or like it was what it was for the time being, I'm fine with that. So like, I guess I'm going there with the intention of like, what does the next
what's the season of Courtnie? What's
correct look like at this point in my business? Because again, when I started at 30 and getting ready to be 38, even the places I like to go and stay and all that have changed.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, who's your support layer now? Like, what's that look like? Everything shifts. Everything shifts, and you have the ones that ride or die till the end. Then you have the ones that kind of, for the season, we're great. For the season, we're great. For it's really cool to see. I'll be stalking you more, not on Instagram, just creepily like on your email. I'll be like, hey, what season are you in? But where can we find you? What's next? How do consultants also get involved with like other CEOs, travel advisors? How do they get in contact with you?
So I hang out not on Instagram. I am going to start, guys. It's Courtnie_Nichols, but LinkedIn is my baby. So like, if you want to find me, Courtnie Nichols, and I'm chatting and I've got a business page, like I do all the things. Then I have the CourtnieNichols.com. My name is spelled differently, guys. Courtnie, not N-E-Y. Nichols.com. Again, each of my businesses have Facebook, where everybody can find you. Have Travel Bash, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all the things. But me, myself, I have fun on LinkedIn. I am going to have more fun on Instagram. So yeah.
Look at your DMs and IG. What's one thing you want to leave the listeners with? A little Courtnie tip, something that gets you by either during the day, something you maybe listen to, read, or you just do.
So I mentioned this 10X is easier than 2X, Dan Sullivan. That's an amazing book. But all of this goes back to mindset. When I talk to people, whether it's consulting, whether it's you're a business owner, anything that you're trying to do, it's a mindset where like you couldn't pay me enough. Like when I started my business, people are trying to get websites and all the things and hire this person and all that. No, you need to be investing in your mindset first.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing that I can leave people because, it doesn't matter if you have a new website and your mindset, Like, it doesn't matter if you hire the admin, but you're still treating her like, Like, and you're not delegating to her. Like,
you're a walking example of it too, because your social's coming after you've already.
Yeah, like.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like you're actually living it. Amazing. You can find Courtnie with an IE at katyrey.com, Not a Great Whisperer podcast, at The Real K Ray at my IG. It's your personality is fantastic. And I appreciate you so much coming on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.